Creativity can be simply defined as the state or quality of being creative, or being able to make things in a variety of new ways. But there's a better definition when it comes to people and how they engage in it: the ability to transcend traditional ideas, rules, patterns, relationships, or the like, and to create meaningful new ideas, forms, methods, interpretations, etc. Originality, progressiveness, or imagination. Creativity isn't merely the act of making new things. It's a powerful tool for shaping the world around us and allowing people to connect and grow in ways they never thought possible before. This truth is especially evident for Black people. Throughout the various struggles that Black people have faced, creativity has played an instrumental role in their history. In the US, Black Americans generated movements like the Harlem Renaissance and the Chicago Black Renaissance, born from a desire to give their hopes and dreams form and to imagine themselves beyond their present circumstances. The Black community in Chicago has a rich creative history, especially stemming from its renaissance with artists like Gwendolyn Brooks, Nat King Cole, Gordon Parks, and Richard Wright, just to name a few. Much of the impetus behind this movement came from very challenging times. From the Great Migration, which brought many Black Southerners to the city, to the Red Summer of 1919, and even the Great Depression. Despite the disheartening and difficult circumstances these periods of time were, Black creativity still emerged, stronger than ever. Through their art, these creatives challenged the discrimination they faced, conceived solutions to relevant issues, and imagined futures where Blackness could be celebrated in its fullness, working to create space for Black people to make their own impact on the city. Today, creativity remains a driving force for Black people everywhere, and the same is true for Black students at UChicago. Despite some of the challenges that Black students face here at the university, we found a variety of ways to use creativity in building and finding community, and in making space.
She suggested to me, she told me, oh, why don't you just have a crochet business? And I immediately wrote it off because I'm like, girl, I'm going to UChicago. I'm not going to UChicago to get a degree to have a crochet business. I'm trying to go to law school, So I completely wrote her off in the moment. And then fast forward, the pandemic came. And I think the pandemic had us really questioning a lot of different things. That really affected me emotionally, affected my family, affected my friends. And it was just really jarring seeing this in the news over and over and over. And there wasn't really an escape because you couldn't really go anywhere. And so I had all of these emotions kind of bottled up and didn't necessarily have a way to express it. So it was at that point where I decided, okay, you know what? I'm going to start this crochet page, because crochet for me has always been the vessel that I've used to kind of relax, kind of think things out. And it's always been my calming mechanism. And so I decided, you know what, I need to be calm during this time. And that's when I opened up the crochet page. I messaged a lot of my family and friends, was like, hey, I started this page, go check it out. And at the time I was called the Hookup because I thought it was cute. But then as time went and kind of evolved, and I learned, there were other crochet accounts out there, and I kind of learned the nuances, even in this small community. And it wasn't until I found this Facebook group of Black women who crocheted that I realized, oh my goodness, you telling me I can make more than a scarf? You're telling me I can make more than a blanket? I did not know. I saw these women literally cranking out some of the most unique pieces I'd ever seen in my life. And so that's where I kind of begun to stretch my imagination And very much inspired by these women, you know, I took a lot of those craft elements into the pieces that I made once I started my page. And I think that as I saw this not only as a creative venture where I could kind of express myself, but also as a business and something that I could own, and especially in the fashion industry, which is very white, you know, I think it's very important for Black people and other people of color to put their names on the things that they own. And so that's where T'Kor Couture came from. T'Kor is an abbreviation of my middle name. And so I decided to name my business after myself. And then I became even more specific, like even with my brand colors. My brand colors are purple and gold. And I think those are just colors that are just, you know, very rich, very vibrant, very royalty. And that's the new essence that I wanted my brand to give off. Learning more about the history of Black fashion, I really saw the ways in which dress can be used for political and social means and gains. And I think one prime example of this is the Black Panther Party. That style, you know, the uniform of the all Black attire and the beret and the sunglasses and the leather jackets, like it was all very intentional in sending a specific political message. And I think that's so cool. I think it's so cool. And I think, you know, when we even think about the wave of the natural hair movement, hair is another form of style. It's another form of fashion. And I think it's so cool, especially when you look at the history of Black people. And you can look all the way back, you'll see the different elements in which Black people have used style and have used fashion as a means of, you know, self-expression and also as a means of giving voice. With most communities, online communities, you'll find that it is very white, and crochet was no exception. And it was looking at other people's art forms, seeing what they were doing and thinking, oh, maybe if I just do what they do, I'll also grow. But it wasn't authentic. It wasn't authentic to what I learned from, you know, the Black community that I found on Facebook. And it wasn't authentic to the style that I personally liked, as well as the story that I was trying to tell. You know, my designs, I like for them to be inspired by different elements of Black culture, by Black people, by Black music, by Black art, everything. That's where I gained my source of inspiration. And there was a point, in order to be more palatable to white audiences, that I thought I had to leave that behind. One of my staple pieces that I make are my fluffy bucket hats. And I made them intentionally so that I could wear it and so that people like me could wear it. So like I can wear it with my protective styles and I can wear it with my froze, because I feel like I try and get so many hats and none of them can ever fit. And so, you know, I really try to keep those in mind, not just style, but also functionality and how it, you know, works with, you know, people who look like me. With the latest photo shoot I did for my Tweenus collection, I was very intentional in terms of just wanting to have a diverse set of people in my shoot, because, you know, we just don't see that enough, especially in the fashion industry, like I've been telling you. And, you know, even having like a Black female photographer, you know, like things like that, you know. And I think, you know, part of it is intentional, and then part of it is just the people I, you know, attract, like who are the other creatives who want to collaborate with me. And, you know, a lot of the time we share the same mindset. And I think, you know, it's just happens sometimes. Like somehow we find each other. And I think it really just does have to do with having that same mindset of just wanting to get other Black creatives and other POC creatives out there and to support one another. And I think that when you're authentic, you attract other authentic people. And that really kind of, you know, really expounds the kinds of connections that you're truly able to make. Z-Way was one of those people I never thought I would ever collaborate with whatsoever. You know what I'm saying?
That was crazy.
And now, it's crazy. That's something I never thought possible. With both Z-Way and Jamila, these are women I've been following for quite some time. Like, I'm a real fan of these people. And I think, you know, it just goes back to, I think it's so cool that, me being authentic with my brand has even garnered the attention of anyone, let alone Z-Way and Jamila Woods. And so, I think it's been a very amazing and humbling experience. And I think one of the best parts, not even one of the best parts, the best part has been the connections that I've been able to make. Whether it's been honestly strengthening connections with other UChicago students, connecting with more people online. It's really just given me the audacity to kind of put myself out there a little bit more. One of my passions other than crocheting is writing. And so even being able to use this as a vessel to be able to make connections with the people who are doing exactly what I want to do in life, you know what I'm saying? And to have connections like that I can go to in the future to ask for help or to ask for advice. I think that's one of the most viable lessons that I've kind of learned in all of this. I was shook. So I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna just start one. Well, obviously, I had to make sure that I wasn't the only one who wanted it. So I actually asked a lot of Black students and a lot of other classmates, hey, would y'all be interested in having a Black Convocation? And I didn't hear a no. I didn't hear a single no. So I'm like, okay, the demand's there. I'm going to get it together. It was definitely an interesting process. So I was only my freshman year, and very shortly into my freshman year, I was like, okay, we have to get this Black Convocation prepared for next year. And I actually spent a good chunk of that first year just trying to get permission. And so I honestly didn't know what to do. But thankfully, the vice provost at the time kind of stepped in. And so that whole summer, I spent it planning the Black Convocation. And the only person I had help from at the time was my good friend, my great friend, Dio Adeoye. She and I planned the first ever Black Convocation together. We got the OBS and AXA boards to sign off, and they helped us prepare everything on the day of. It started off as, I just want to do it because other schools doing it. And then as I kind of was on campus and kind of learned what the experience of Black students were, it wasn't until, I got older in my junior, senior year where I kind of really begun to understand their frustrations. It really is this not being seen. These were the experiences that I was hearing from Black students about their time on campus. And so it really became something bigger and an effort for me to let Black students know. I didn't care about anybody else. To let Black students know that there is a space here for you. That you deserve to be here. And there are going to be moments where you're going to question yourself, where you're going to feel like you don't belong. But you need to know that you have a community of people here that you can come to when you feel like that, who understand you, who truly understand you and want you to be here. And so that's why I thought it was very important to have student speakers, to have faculty speakers, to have community speakers that could really speak to, especially in that first convocation, everybody, but to our incoming freshmen, to let them know it's going to be challenging for some of y'all, but we got you. Okay, we are family here. And so that was really the essence that we wanted Black Convocation to embody. Being able to see the attendance of numbers grow, being able to hear how Black students have reacted to it. We need to find community in moments like that. We need to find people that we can come to for strength. And so that's what Black Convocation is about. I went to a predominantly Black and brown high school, and I saw too often people count themselves out before they could even try. I have met just so many crazy, intelligent, and also talented and creative people. And, people often underestimate the power of people of color and of Black people. It's so often underestimated. And so I don't want us to continue to count ourselves out. I want it to be a movement where we are changing our mindsets and where, anything is possible as long as you set your mind to it. And as long as you're moving in a community of people that believe in you, where y'all can believe in each other and uplift each other.